Hey, welcome. This is The Process. My name is Dr. John Bush. We are going through the defense against positions for our early part of 2021 season, just to give us a foundation to set lineups, play daily fantasy sports. In developing this data, of course, we're locked into last year. So, hey, we all know the limitations of old data, but what else have we got? I can't use the Ouija board on this. After probably the third week in 2021, I will revamp all my metrics, and I will continue weekly updating so we can follow then defenses and how they work against positions so that you can figure out where your players line up. And it's a good tiebreaker, good daily fantasy sports metric to use with other aspects as well. This is obviously part 4. You need to watch and look at the other 3 parts as well. So let's continue with this journey here. So what I'm going to do is go through 4 teams at a time. And if you've looked at any of my material, I love to consider the broader aspects of a situation. So I like a landscape, and I call the landscapes we're looking at now early. Well, I think it's first 6 or 7 games, and then mid, from like 7, 8 to like 13, 14, and then the playoffs late, 15, 16, and 17. And I guess I really did want to include 18. Some people do have their playoffs in week 18, but it gets really crazy at that time. Anyway, using those 3 sectors, I call them sectors, time sectors, we can look at each team, look at the sector, and get a scale for or a view of how the different offensive positions will have to deal with. So anything that's above 0 is thought to be easier than average. Anything below 0 is thought to be harder. The deeper the numbers, either higher or lower, they're going to be the more extremes. Okay, so you can, really use the extremes here. And this might at least give you a consideration of trade, jettisoning players that figure to have a tough, say, playoff versus acquiring players that may had a tough early part but have a more favorable schedule. People may be disappointed, and there's some trade targets you can go grab and you might be able to collect later. So this is something, when people talk about trading just flipping stuff out there is not my recommended process. You've got to have basis of what you're doing. What does your team really need now versus what could it need, say, for your playoffs? And if you're doing a trading partner, you do have to consider what they need. And so the best would be you have a piece that figures to have a tough schedule, and you could trade that for a player that figures to have an easier schedule, right? So maybe you're hoping they're asleep and don't realize that they're getting less value than maybe thought, right? So, I mean, that's the best case scenario. But in your trades, if the player doesn't need, if they've got 3 tight ends, they probably don't need another one. So you trading a tight end is not going to help. You need to pick your trading partners as well and work their situation. Okay, don't help them too much, but try to at least give them something to hang their hat on. But just throwing, ridiculous trades, especially in their strengths, right? If they have a lot of good running backs, throwing another one at them is probably not going to work. Where are they scarce at? So you do need to put some time into trades versus just knee-jerk trading and flipping around, okay? So I don't trade a lot because it's kind of hard for me to find and do that and get that accepted. It's tough, okay? People that are just trading left and right, do they even know what they're doing, right? They're just, going crazy. Who knows? Anyway, so each block of 4 teams is going to have this table. Then I've also got a bar graph of each team so you can see it visually. It's one thing to see numbers. Some people like to see the visual so you can get the intensity of it. Okay, so I would recommend both ways to look at it. So let's look and I'm going to just kind of go through thumbnail of the different teams and see what we got here. So Arizona, I think you see right away. Look at this tight end. Oh my goodness! In the middle part. Well, first I'm not playing Minnesota. I'm sorry, Arizona tight ends anyway. But if you were, look at that. What about the running backs? Oh man, they look good. They're going to come down some, so lower your expectations going into the playoffs. Hopefully, this will get you to the playoffs, and then you can use another situation. The quarterback, Murray's going to have a tougher time throughout the season. There's no break, really. The wide receivers will do well early, okay, mid, and about average late. So you can kind of visualize the journey that Arizona will have. Atlanta, the Davis, the running back's going to get tough. So maybe, because it gets better, maybe Davis is a target. He has a lot of tough games and people get disappointed with him. So he might be something to consider. The quarterback, Matt Ryan, is about average, going to get tough, and then gets good again. So Matt Ryan may be a target for the playoffs. The wide receivers, about the same. Those numbers are not really dramatic. Pitts, look at this. So there's going to be people that maybe Pitts starts strong. Is that because he's good or the schedule is good for him? So it could be both here. Notice then the mid. So that could be ruin somebody's deal here if they just rely on Pitts. And then in the playoffs, it gets a little tricky as well. Okay, let's talk about Baltimore. Baltimore, really nice running back early. Look at that. But boy, after that, rut row. So there's get rid of these guys before this hits. Look at the quarterback. Wow. Late in the play. Just when you need Lamar Jackson. Wide receivers kind of have a bookend poor season. Looks like the mid, they kind of recover some. Andrews also recovers during that time, but has a tough start out. So it looks like the running backs and the quarterback running should have a better time early, and then hopefully they can flip to getting Andrews more involved and the wide receivers. Buffalo, just right away, look at the playoffs here. Worst in all of them. So should get you to the playoffs, but you might need some more ammunition to make it through to the league champ. I don't know. Here is just the graphs. Anything above the 0 line is good. Anything below is bad. And you can see the extremes And blue is the wide running back, red quarterback, green wide receiver, and yellow is tight end. So you can follow the tight end, for instance, on various teams. Okay, if you're still in drafting mode, you can kind of see what tight ends are doing, fairly well most of the seasons, which ones where the running backs are doing pretty good and that kind of thing. So I would use this information like that, in my drafts. On my draft sheets, I would definitely highlight a little star, little something, little squiggle, something that tough versus easier strength of schedule here based on this DAP analysis. Next four: Carolina, Chicago, Cincinnati, Cleveland. Like I said, these can be used to tell a story. Looks like Christian McCaffrey going to earn his paycheck in the mid and definitely in your playoffs. So, if he's injury prone or anything like that, it looks like he's going to be severely tested late. So that could really blow your team up if something happens to him. Quarterback will have an early and late good time, but the middle is going to be tough. Wide receivers the same way, and the tight end the same way. So there's the midpoint for Carolina is going to be the toughest, and if they can get through and pass, then they have a shot at making some noise towards the playoffs there. Chicago, Montgomery figures to have a early and a late good season and tough in the middle. Quarterbacks a little bit easy, but then gets kind of tough. Wide receivers a little bit hard, but not too bad late. The tight ends, Cole Kmet, it looks like he's going to earn his pay, so just be aware. I'm not sure I would be looking to draft him as my one based on this information. Maybe a two, maybe a streamer. Cincinnati, the Mixon should do well early and okay late, and mid is not too bad. Quarterback does well mid. Wide receivers do well. Boy, look at the playoffs. The Cincinnati wide receivers get a -22. Oh my goodness. They're going to really be tested there. And the tight end has a good midseason, but tough bookends there early and late. Cleveland, Chubb and Hunt get a nice complete season. We haven't seen that yet. So take Chubb and Hunt all day. Quarterback, Mayfield gets an early break, but the defenses are going to push him, and the wide receivers are going to be in deep the whole season. So it looks like Cleveland is going to need its running backs. And Hooper probably and Njoku get a shot coming out of the gate because they better, because it looks like the love dries up mid and late there. So just be aware of that. And let's see, where is Cincinnati here? Here's Carolina. Pretty good early, pretty good late. Just have a tough mid-season here. Pretty good Chicago early, late. And mid's a little tough. Early's a little tough. Mid is great for Cincinnati and tough as well. Cleveland, look at the running backs. Bam, bam. That's nice. I love to see that. But boy, everybody else is going to be on the ropes in Cleveland. Cleveland, if they make the playoffs, they're going to have earned it, folks. Dallas, Denver, Detroit, and Green Bay. Goodness. Let's see what we got here. Dallas, they could completely blow up. Look at all this. This is terrible. Coming late in the play, just when they need. Boy, that sure makes me sad to see that. And looks early they're going to have a little tough. Looks like mid they're going to be flying high, and that could be good because it looks like the rug gets pulled out from under them late. Not so good. Denver, early and late. Nice. Melvin Gordon. Okay. Nice. Look at the quarterback. Nice. Wide receivers, not too bad. Noah Fant, positive the whole season. First tight end the whole season. Fant figures, folks. If you saw my other on targets, I had him as potential 3 to 7 tight end at the end of the season. This is helping. It's going to add wind to his sails, folks. He might be able to tight end one, and you can wait and do a late tight end and score a nice play here. Nice. Detroit, Swift gets a tough show. Quarterback gets a tough show till late. And wide receivers get tough till late. And Hawkinson, tough, but really get a nice midpoint here. I think I would degrade Swift a little bit just seeing this. And not too enthusiastic about the the wide receivers till late. So again, Detroit wide receivers, they probably settled their pecking order by then. That would probably be a good time to maybe trade for some. Green Bay, look at this. Only Tanyan, the tight end, figures to have an okay most of the season. Aaron Jones is going to earn his pay. Rodgers is going to earn, and the wide receiver. So if Green Bay is able to overcome and get into the playoffs, they could go all the way this year. Because if they can survive all that, they got to be a tough and rough team. Wow. Look at Dallas. Look at that. Wow. That's not good. Denver's almost the opposite. That is a nice setup for Denver. Detroit, tough and pretty good late. And Green Bay, the whole season, rough. Not so good, not so good. Houston, Indianapolis, Jacksonville, and KC. Look at this. Houston, tight ends could wake up in the mid, but boy, they're going to get knocked down. Not too bad for the running backs. David Johnson, not too bad. Quarterback, whoever it is, probably not Watson, pretty good. Wide receivers, a little tough, but okay. I think there's some people not drafting Houston like they maybe should. I'm picking up Cooks when I can, and even Miller is a free square late in best balls. I've been picking him up. Jonathan Taylor, check this out, folks. He could win you a league if we believe this. A plus 25. Oh my goodness. Here's another. Remember Cincinnati had a great running back? Well, so does Indianapolis. Quarterback, great. Wide receivers, great. Look at this. Boy, Indianapolis should get into the playoffs and probably is going to go deep. Nice. Looks like their tight ends get roughed up late. But other than that, boy, I'm probably stronger on Indianapolis. I wish I'd seen this earlier. Look at that. That's nice. Jacksonville. Looks like their running backs get an early and late season. They could win you that championship late here. I like that. Quarterback does pretty good. Little rough late. Wide receivers, not bad. And of course tight ends, and they get pretty good late. Kansas City rushing, boy, that's a -9. That's rough, but it gets easier after that. Tight end, wide receivers, great early, but tough on the bookends here. Kelsey comes out of the gate swinging first game, so that's good. But we'll see how good he is. I could put some pressure on him. Don't know if he's injury prone, but look at that. That. It always worries me when older players are facing game scripts that seem negative in a block here. That worries me. And I hate to see this for Tyreek Hill as well. I hate to see those playoffs. There's some minuses. I would rather have players that have plus in the playoffs. Houston is going to do pretty good late. Indianapolis, nice. Look at the running backs. Indianapolis almost has a complete positive except for the tight ends late. I really like this profile here. Like it, like it, like it. And Jacksonville, not too bad early and mid, and late, not bad either. So Jacksonville could surprise this year. Kansas City does best mid, and they're going to be tried late, folks. So the Mahomes is going to earn his pay in the playoffs for you. Okay. Chargers, Rams, Vegas, Miami. Chargers get off to a good start with Eckler, early and late especially. Eckler could, if he can stay healthy through the tougher mid there, -7, he gets the 19 in the playoff weeks. That he could absolutely win you a championship. Herbert early and late, not bad, but the mid-season, -18, that's tough. So we're going to find out the character of the Chargers mid-season. Look at that. Look at the tight end. Jared Cook faces a -21. Wide receivers have a tough schedule throughout. They don't have a break. I mean, -1 and -3 are near average, a little bit below. But the -8, hopefully Keenan Allen can stay healthy and Eckler can just put it over the edge for you there. The Rams have a very intriguing profile here. Early is really tough. Their tight end has it really rough mid, but look at the running back, quarterback, and wide receiver. So the rushing and passing seems to be really good mid and even playoff late. So if the players can get through the early season without losing hope, then I'm thinking the Rams players could also deliver what we draft them for. Except for the tight end, be cautious. I would definitely not rely on, is it Higbee? Whoever it is, to be your tight end one. The Raiders, Las Vegas Raiders, have a tough early season and then a tough late. They have a break mid-season. I'm thinking the Raiders are not going to make the playoffs this year. Look at this. Waller has kind of the best profile of any of them. So I do believe he's going to deliver what you think he's going to deliver. I mean, it'd be nice to be all positive, but it's kind of a little bit average, nice at plus 10, and then about average. Miami, Gaskin gets an early juice, keeps going mid, and hits average late, so he could survive this run and deliver. The quarterback, Tua, could have a little rough start, but could kind of find his shot mid and late, as will the wide receivers, as will Gesicki. Look at that. If he can survive the early, plus 21, plus 11, Gesicki could also be in the top 5 or 6 at the end of the season. That's a nice profile for his DAP there. That's really, 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 really nice. So let's look here. The Chargers blow up late, except for the running back. So they'll be relying on Eckler even more. Just don't know health-wise, injury-wise, can he survive when the rest of the team is fighting here. Rams, looks like they can survive early. They can do well mid and late. That's nice profile coming in for you there. Vegas worries me. If you grab and they produce mid, it's time to dump them. Miami has a shot moving after early to also be surprising late. So they have a shot at wild card. I like this profile of Gesicki. Look at the yellow there. Nice. So this is really good. I really like that profile. So Minnesota has a great shot getting through early. Nice. But all that disappears mid and late. It gets really, really tough. So I would have an issue with maybe holding on to some of those guys too long. The New England, the running backs have a little bit of a tough go, but really could help you late. Look at that, plus 11 late. Cam has green light throughout the season, and the wide receivers have a nice shot until late. And the tight ends, unfortunately, they cut each other's value, but boy, this was the year to have the New England tight end. Look at that profile. That's nice. New Orleans, are they going to survive the first early games? Look at that. Minus 22, minus 24, minus 21. Only Kamara and Murray get a plus 1, so it's an average. Looks like New Orleans will be using their running backs, but if they fall behind, I don't know what they're going to do. But mid and late, it looks like the complete script flips, and the quarterbacks, wide receivers, and tight ends really do well mid and do pretty good late. So that'll be really interesting to see New Orleans early compared to late. it would seem to me that you would want to invest in New Orleans, games 5, 6, 7 to trade for them while everybody's down, and then collect as they go into mid and late. The Giants, Saquon has a rough go early, -19, and then late -10, -11 actually. That's not good. Quarterback's a little rough, wide receivers a little rough, and tight end, but some of that clears up for them. So it looks like the passing game and for Ingram really does well late and mid, so that's good. So I think we will see the Giants having a shot at being competitive late in the playoffs, using passing and the tight end more. And if Barkley can just stay healthy, maybe at least keep their rushing game alive there. But coming in early, he's going to be tested. That always worries me, people coming back from injury and they have a tough row to go there. Minnesota, just gets its head handed to him late. Really worried about that. New England, pretty good, actually. The whole season is not bad. Lots of positives here. New Orleans, oh my goodness. They're exploding mid and late, and if they can get themselves off the mat, because they're going to get beat down early. The Giants wake up late finally, so maybe if they can just survive early and mid, they can put it together late and be competitive. We'll see. Let's see here. Jets, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, Seattle. Jets having an okay early season. It's not great. It's not terrible. The tight end worries me a little bit. Running backs, looks like mid-season's great, but boy, the rug pulls out from under them late, so that worries me a little bit. Not drafting the Jets early anyways, my running back. Passing gets a little tough mid, but not terrible. And the wide receivers have a positive script throughout the whole season. So that's good for Corey Davis, folks. Good. Good for Crowder as well. So I'm optimistic that they can be useful wide receiver 4 or 5 types. Philadelphia, the running game on the bookends, -10, -9, and mid-season is +12. So the running backs will get tested early and late, but have a little breather mid. So we'll see how that all works out. The quarterback has a pretty good early and mid, but playoffs really let you down, folks. And the wide receiver's going to let you down late as well. Look at that. The tight ends looks like they will actually flourish late. So Goddard could provide value. Looks like early and late. So, but they still have Ertz, so they're going to cut each other a little bit. So that makes them a little deeper in drafting there. Pittsburgh. Najee Harris, the rookie, has the door open for a positive script throughout, so you should definitely put a star by his name, and he's a worthy grab early here. If you can get him as your RB2, it looks strong for him. Ben has a strong scenario, and the wide receivers in Pittsburgh don't have bad, or the tight end. Look, the tight end really looks great. So I'm optimistic Pittsburgh has a shot at going deep into the playoffs. they can put all this together. If Harris is who Harris is advertised to be, I think Pittsburgh's going to, going to do well. Seattle, boy, early, they're going to get tested. In fact, Wilson gets tested the whole season, and the wide receivers get tested. Carson gets a break late, so he could help you late, but gets tested early. A lot of people may jump off Carson early. Could be a time to grab him. Tight ends are going to be -20, -13. That's not good. I would be cautious using any of those. This doesn't portend so well for Seattle. I mean, they've got a great, well, they used to have a great defense. I don't know how it is now. I'm not sure it's that good. I don't know. This doesn't inspire me with great confidence here as I'm looking. Pittsburgh dissolves late. Jets do a little better late. Philadelphia dissolves late. Pittsburgh does well. Look at that. That is a great scenario here. Here's great. Here's concerning. Look at Seattle. Rut row. It's like mirror images of two teams here. Two fates. Two pathways. Easy, tough. Be aware for Seattle there. Finally, we have San Francisco, Tampa Bay, Tennessee, Washington. Frisco looks like they have a nice early, nice late. They can reward you for rushing quarterback and wide receivers. And Kittle, if he can stay injury-free, can deliver late as well. Kittle could help you out as well. I'm a little higher on Frisco now that I see this. This is good. This is a good profile. Tampa Bay, wow, look at Ronald Jones, Fournette, Bernard, -14, 19, and 13. Oh my goodness. Brady's going to have a tough show till late. He wakes up late. The wide receivers do fairly well. And the tight ends, Gronk comes alive late, puts him over the hump. That's what's going to happen. I can see that connection right there. Look at that. It's just waiting for us. Gronk stays asleep, and then he wakes up late in the season and gets them in, and then they're off to the races. Tennessee gets a sweet start early because they're going to need it, because it looks like the mid-8 are tough. So be concerned about Tennessee mid and late. Hold them and then maybe trade them before it gets too bad. Washington can deliver late. Fitzpatrick, if he can make it with his passing team, and notice a nice positive RB and tight end. This Washington can be competitive with the Giants. It looks like the East is going to be very competitive this year. Looks like late. So Washington doesn't have too bad. Logan Thomas has good bookends. The only thing I'm worried about is a little bit passing, but it's not just terrible. So I'm optimistic about Washington's chances, especially late. That I think they're going to deliver for us. And look at Washington, nicely late. Tennessee blows up mid and late. Tampa Bay, here's Gronk right here. And San Francisco comes in. So watch for teams that do this U-shape. A lot of times there are good trade opportunities there in the slump, and you can collect late. So watch that. Go back through here and pick those teams and then start searching mid-season to see if you can't score things for the trade deadline's over. I'm liking. Let's see, is that it? Yeah. So that is it. Took me a long while to go through all that, but that was a nice little profile here, my 10-cent tour. I would definitely go through this a couple more times to try to work this through my head so I can develop fingertip knowledge here that will help me if I got any last minute drafts. Good luck. Come back. We've got a couple more lessons here.